Hi, welcome to Educator.com. Today's lesson will be covering an introduction to composition. We'll be discussing what it is to create a melodic line, and we'll also be looking at harmonic texture. So, melody is a horizontal presentation of pitch. Let's write out the melody to Yankee Doodle. So, Yankee Doodle, C, C, D, E. There's one measure. We'll just make two measures. C, E, D, G. Okay, so the pitch is going up. And to start in a very basic way, let's look at where the pitch starts and where it ends up. It goes up, kind of goes down a little bit, goes back up again, and then it goes down lower, much lower. And then, as we know, it goes back up to the original starting note. So this note has a very strong tendency to lead our ears back to this note. So we're listening. We're definitely following the contour of this melody, which goes up, back down again. That's really pretty and nice. We're sort of circling around these three notes. So you can see. Then we make a really big leap. This is the biggest leap this melody has made, right? Let's count how many notes that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's known as a fifth. So the melody jumps down a fifth. So we're definitely paying attention now. Then it goes back up a fourth. So what I like to do is take a melody that's, pretty well known, or that I know pretty well, even if it's not that well known, and I look at the intervals between the notes. So this is the same. These are the same. This is a major second. This is a major second. If you're not sure how to qualify intervals as major or perfect or minor, there will be another lesson on that concept. But you do need to have kind of a basic grasp of major and minor in order to take this class and be successful and not have to constantly check notes to go forward with the work we do in this class. So this from E to C is a major third, another major third, and then a major second from E to D, and then we already wrote the perfect fifth and perfect fourth. Yes, there's a difference between a major interval and a perfect interval, which we'll get into later. So dissecting that melody, we definitely know that the big drama happens after the second measure, and we're captured. We're really interested in this big interval leading us to the second statement of Yankee Doodle. So moving on, let's talk about major minor scale derived melody. Yankee Doodle sounds kind of happy, right? So that comes from a major scale. To be very basic, minor sounds darker and more mysterious and more sad. So let's think of a minor melody. And I'm going to use a melody of Mahler's, who's a German composer. Okay, so this melody is a minor melody. And why is it minor? Well, the interval between the E flat and the C, this is indicative of a minor scale, the C minor scale. So the next section of this melody, I didn't write it down yet, but so this definitely is very sad and dark sounding, and this is in direct contrast to Yankee Doodle, because Yankee Doodle has the E natural. The Mahler melody has an E flat. So it's great to have all of these scales at your fingertips to use as compositional tools depending on the kind of mood you want to evoke with your melody. There's another scale family, the blues scale family. We're talking about blues and jazz and rock here, so we will get into that style of music in this class. For now, I'm going to write out a blues scale for you guys so you can copy it and practice playing this on your keyboard or your guitar, whatever instrument you feel most comfortable with. You do need a keyboard for this class. It's just very useful. And if you're not a great keyboard player, it's okay. We're not going to be playing excerpts that are that tough. But you do need to have a basic grasp of what the keyboard takes and how to play it. So the blues scale C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, C. This family of notes contains so many possibilities for writing. You could just play a C with your left hand and then play parts of the blues scale. And it really sounds complicated and interesting, and you just know this formula. So take this formula and you can create various kinds of blues melodies, or even have some blues sneak into a major key, or have some blues sneak into a minor key piece that you're working on. So a melody derived from the blues scale is a really great tool. And let's go on and talk about harmony, which is the verticalization of pitch, which means we are piling notes on top of one another to create sounds, chords. So what I did was write chord there in the bottom, right there. That's what you're going to be analyzing and looking at and studying for this entire course. So vertical pitch. Vertical, it looks vertical on the paper as you're reading the notes. Actually, in the piano, it would be horizontal because you're physically playing this keyboard, but we think about it as vertical. So there's major, here's minor. And chord progressions are also the verticalization of pitch. Let's write some more. We have the C, E flat, G, C. We'll make an E flat. We'll also add an F sharp to this chord and a B flat. So we can recall a chord that's really reminiscent of the blues chord. This sounds very dense and complicated and difficult to play, but if you know the blues formula and the minor chord formula, you can create really complicated and also very subtle sounds. So moving on, we're going to talk about consonants versus dissonants. Consonant chords and dissonant chords are pretty easily defined. A consonant chord is one that's stable. So we'll write a few out. Here's C major chord here, and we call this 1 in the key of C. I'll let you look at the keyboard in a second. We're going to write these out first. Here's 4. This is also very stable, right? Let's add something that's maybe not so stable. This dissonant doesn't necessarily mean something, a chord that sounds like that. Dissonant sometimes means a chord that sounds less stable. Perhaps something that's really leading our ears. This sounds unfinished, unresolved. It's leading our ears back to the C. So this is just a very, very basic definition of dissonant. We're going to add one more chord. This is a 5-7 chord. And this is a 7 7th chord. Diminished. So a diminished chord means a chord made up of a lot of different minor thirds stacked on top of one another. Here's a minor third. Here's a minor third. Here's a minor third. 3 minor thirds. This chord doesn't want to stay there. It wants to go here. So that's also what we mean by dissonant. Consonant, stable, dissonant, unstable. So, moving on to the chord types. The chord types are just very basic different classes of chords. The tonic chords are 1 and 6. The reason why we include 6 in this category is because 6 can be used in the same way that 1 is used in a tonic class. These are tonic chords. We can move to 6. We can use 6 as a substitute for 1 often. Okay, so the subdominant class chords, to be very basic, in the key of C would be the F chord, which is a 4, and the 2 chord, which is lowercase 2. This, and as you remember the 6 from before, which is a tonic, these are lowercase Roman numerals because they have minor qualities. So let's listen to the tonic chords, which I didn't play. Here's the 1. Here's the 6. So, as you can see, 1 and 6 share 2 notes, which is why they're very interchangeable. The dominant class chords, again, 4 and 2. They share 2 notes. So they can have similar roles in a chord progression. Moving on to the dominant class chords, which are 5, which is the G chord in the key of C, 7 diminished chord, which is a B, D, F chord in the key of C, and also the 3 chord. Okay, so let's listen to these. These are dominant because they are dominantly leading our ears back to the tonic. Let's listen to the first to C so we can kind of get back into the tonal center that we're working with. C, G, C. Can you hear that pull? If I stop there, it sounds really wrong until I go back to C. Let's try this with 7. You don't want it to stop there. You want to hear this again. And let's go to 3. This one isn't as a strong pull, right, as the 5 and the 7. When we go to 3, it's a little more stable, but it still sounds really nice moving between these 2 chords. The other thing you can do with this is invert the chord, something we can do with all of our chords. But when we find a chord that has a lot of notes in common, if you place, for example, I took the root of, I'm taking the C in the major chord, and I'm going back and forth between the B and the C. This, E, G, B, E, G, B to E, G, C. This is a very beautiful sound. You can write a melody just on top of this change very easily and have it be, really, really compelling. So our first example, we're going to create a major scale derived melody. Let's pick a key of G, and we're going to begin on G, and we're going to play G, B, C, D, G. Let's listen to that. Okay, great. Moving forward, we're going to harmonize that melody. So again, let's write our key signature. We're in the key of G, G, B, C, D, G. Well, I definitely know I want to start with a 1. Don't worry if you're not so familiar with Roman numeral notation and analyzation. We will get into that more. But just copy what I'm doing if you're not sure. If you are sure of what you're doing, go ahead and write a melody and harmonize your melody with the chords you know from the major scale, because we're working with major scale this time. Okay, I'm going to choose a G major triad, and then I'm going to move to, let's see, I'm going to move to, I can use a tonic class chord, tonic, which are 1 and 6. I can use a subdominant class, which are the 4 and the 2, or I can go to a dominant class. Now, the choices I can make are based on the note that I'm working with. I have a B. So in the key of C, the options I have, the chords that included B are the 7 chord, the 5 chord, and the 3 chord dominant class. I'm going to choose the 3 chord. So that means I need an E minor chord. I'm going to change my left hand from the G major to an E minor chord. Okay, so now I have to go harmonize this C. Well, I think I would like to harmonize that C with my other tonic substitute, which is 6. So I'm going to use my A minor chord, and let's see, I have an E, G, B. Let's see if I can move to my A minor chord smoothly. I can definitely move to a C here. From my G, I can move to an A, and I'm going to keep the E. Perfect. So let's look at how I'm going to be harmonizing this. This is kind of a low chord, so you can't see it, but you can imagine. Oh, you'll see it in a second. Then, all right, that sounds really good. Let's write the 6. Great. Now, we're to the D. I can use a 5 or a 7. I'm going to choose 5. So this is pretty close. Resolving C to an A to F sharp, E to D, 5, and then 1. We'll go back to the G chord. Half notes, half notes. Okay, let's listen to the whole thing and let's see how it sounds. So, okay, here's my chord. Then I move up to E minor, A minor, D, and then G. Let's do that again. So here's my first chord, then E minor, then D major, and G. That sounds beautiful. Great, and that was really easy. So if this is the first progression you've ever created, congratulations. We're now going to do the same thing with minor. I'm going to choose C minor, which has 3 flats. So write your flats in the key signature: B flat, E flat, A flat, okay? And I'm going to make it pretty simple: C, E flat, D, C. Because I really want to focus more on the harmony. My melody sounds like this. Okay, so we can start with our 1. We'll start with 1. Make sure your left hand supporting the 1 chord is in a minor triad. If you're not sure what a minor triad is, you can look in my old music theory course to find the interval pattern between the first third, 4 half steps, and the second third, 5 half steps, to find that minor third. Okay, let's see. Now for the next key, the next chord, if you know your theory for minor keys, you know that 3 can be a major key in minor. So we're going to make this major. I'm going to keep my E flat, G, B flat. Let's see how that sounds. Sounds great. Then, for this D, I'm going to use my 7. Oops, minor. So 7 would be, let's see, let's find the B. Let's find a good B to use. We need a B, a D, and an F. Well, this is a B flat. We can make this a B natural. We can make this an F. We can make this our D. Okay, then back to the C, E, G. Let's look and listen to this whole melody. All right. Now we need to find our inverted 7th chord. Easy. If that's the first minor progression you've ever created, congratulations. Good job. So we're going to harmonize. We already just harmonized that melody, so we can think up another harmony this time. So let's try to harmonize that differently. So here's the first measure, and here's the second measure. The first time we started with our 1 chord. Let's stick with that. That's a great way to begin. Okay, so second measure, we need a D. Well, we already tried. No, this is an E flat, and then this is the D, if we remember right. Let's write this stuff out again. It's okay if you're working with pencil. It's great. Just make your correction with your eraser, and then continue. So now we need a new chord. We don't want to use the 3 like we did before. So we're going to have to figure out another chord that uses E flat. So in the key of C minor, 6 is also a major key. We'll use 6. Okay, now let's figure out a new chord to use instead of the 7. I think 5 would be great. So G, B flat, D, minor 5, and then 1. So let's figure out how to articulate, how to manifest these chords. 6. We need to find our A flat, so we're going to move down to A flat, C, E flat. There's 6. Now minor 5. Oh, the A flat can totally go down to a G, and then we'll have B flat, D, and then we'll go back to the 1. Let's listen to how different this sounds from our first melody. Okay. Then we have this. Good. So the first one, as you remember, is the second one is. They're both really pretty, but also have very different minor qualities from one another. It's interesting how many different ways you can harmonize the same melody. Okay, now we're going to create a blues scale derived melody. I gave you the C blues scale. There is a pattern to remember, but we're going to discuss that later. For now, you can figure it out from the C blues scale, which is minor third, major second, minor second, minor second, minor third, major second. Okay, so let's try C, B flat, G, F sharp, F natural, C. Let's hear that. Okay, great. Now, we're definitely going to harmonize this with a minor chord. Minor sounds good with blues. So the first 2 notes will go with the C minor. Now we have to figure out the G. How should we harmonize that G? Well, as you remember, our tonic class has 1 and 6. The subdominant class has 4 and 2. And our dominant class contains the chords 5, 7 diminished, and 3 minor. So we need to harmonize the 5th scale degree. Blues scale is really neither minor nor major. A lot of minor chords sound good harmonizing it, but we can pick. I want to choose something from the dominant class because G is in a lot of these chords. And I'm going to choose a 5 chord, just a major 5. So we're going to move the C minor to a G, B, D. We're going to make sure to put a natural by that B because we used a flat before on the E flat. Okay, now we need to find a chord for this next F sharp, F natural. So, let's find a note a chord that will sound good with this F sharp. Let's see. Here's 1. Now here's 2. Here's 3. That sounds better. Here's 4. 5. 6. That sounds better. Let's use 6. So that is a major triad with a minor 7th on top. So that's a dominant 7th. So we're going to write. So this is, what do we do for this one? 5. Major 5. And this is major 6, 7th. And back to 1. Okay, so let's play the whole melody with the harmonization. And again, so here's minor 1, major 5, major 6, 7th, Okay, so that sounded really, really interesting. Let's see if there's another way we can harmonize that melody. Let's try it again. So C, B flat, G, F sharp, F natural, C. Okay, let's start with another note besides the one. What other chords contain C in the C minor scale, using notes that are also reminiscent of the blues scale? Let's see. Let's start with a major 6 this time. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll start major 6 to 1. We have an A flat, C, E flat, to 1, C, E flat, G. Now we have to figure out another way to harmonize this F sharp chord, which is tricky, right? Let's figure this out and see what sounds good and use our theory knowledge. Okay. So, let's see. No. Let's see this. That sounds a little better. Yeah, minor 5. Okay, let's try the minor 5 and see how that sounds. Okay, and then once we write our minor 5 down, oops, minor 5 is G, B flat, D. Let's try that. Okay, so G, B flat, D, and then C minor for the last one. So minor 5, minor 1. Okay, let's play the whole piece and listen to the beauty we've created. We could even play with making that minor 5 a major 5. Or not. I kind of like the minor. Okay, thanks for watching this installment of composition, and stay tuned for more composition lessons on Educator.com.